Hello, everybody. It's Graham Cave. It's Friday, and it's therefore Wow Ergonomics because it's midday on Friday. I hope you're all well. Stephen, how are you?
Hello. Yes. Pretty good, thank you. Yeah, full of a bit of cold. But I think everyone's got a cold at the moment, or almost every other person's got a cold. So I'm in the 50%, as it were.
Or at least everybody is cold. Now,
Mm.
actually, I don't know whether you're hearing me properly for a minute because I need to bring my microphone up a little bit. There we go. Because today you might have noticed my background. Oh, he's disappeared. My background is slightly different
Yes.
from the usual. And the reason it's different, why have you gone to a circle on the screen, by the way?
I've gone to a circle because I think we were just talking before we joined, there's a bit of a delay with the camera. So you can hear me in real time, but you can't see me in real time. So I'm going to turn the camera off.
Yeah.
And then I'll switch it back on and see if it rights itself. But it's very weird where you're
Ah,
talking and your mouth isn't moving, and then your mouth starts moving and you're not talking. So
well, I quite enjoy it. It's almost like there's the symbol almost looks like a beating speaker, which is
yes,
wonderful.
yeah.
There you are. So
And
it's
some would
almost like
say some would say it's an improvement as well, wouldn't they?
well, I feel like I'm talking to Hal from in 2001. Dave, you don't want to do that, do you, Dave? There you go. That's my Hal impersonation. For any of you that are joining us, thanks for joining the madness as per usual.
Mm.
This is
Yep.
the ergonomics program on the interweb with a difference in that we don't just spout off boring facts and figures at you all day long. Although we do that sometimes as well, but
We
we
do.
try and make it a little bit entertaining at the same time, just so that you stick with it
Yeah.
and hopefully learn something along the way. I am going to one of the things that my wife has taken to watching
Mm.
on the Facebook, if I can dare swear for a minute,
Yeah.
um, of late is a couple called Abby and Cole. I don't know whether you've heard of them at all.
No.
They're a,
Tell me
cou-
more
they're a-
though.
they are a couple. They're two women. They're a couple, and I think they're really well known for a couple of things. One is they get these crates of parcels
Okay.
um, which I think are sort of returns and things like that from shops, etc. And
Mm.
they buy them, they get them given, or they buy them wholesale, something like that, and then they open them and then go through them, and then they donate all of the things that they find that are good to charities, which is lovely,
Okay.
which is a wonderful thing.
Mm.
And the other thing is that they're going through IVF treatment, etc. And one
Mm.
of them is now I think 6 weeks pregnant, which is wonderful. And we've gone through that journey with them as well. So that's
Right.
Abby and
Okay.
Cole for
Okay.
people that may have followed them. But as I say, one of the things that they're very well known for is opening boxes. Uh, that's my tenuous link.
Yeah.
Uh,
Very good. Very good.
thank you. So I thought I'd do it today.
Yeah.
I've never really done an unboxing video before, but here we go. This is the box.
Yeah. I recognise
Uh,
that handwriting, Graham.
this handwriting is
Yeah.
apparently Stephen's finest handwriting.
That's not saying very much, is it?
It's well, it's definitely not GP standard. Anyway,
No.
it's
Better, I presume,
legendary.
not worse.
Yeah, absolutely. This has come all the way from where Stephen lives up in the Midlands.
Yeah.
And I'm going to now open it so that we can all
Yeah.
see what's inside it. Well, I bet you're excited, everybody, aren't
Ooh.
you?
We need like a drum roll, don't we? Like a
There you go.
sort of
We
thing.
need Tom Morley. That's what we need.
Oh, yes.
We need Tom with his
Good old Tom.
drums.
Yeah.
He'd be like, "Oh, let's write a song about it. Rhythm, I've got rhythm. Let's all beat a drum." Well, yeah. Anyway, here we go.
There we go. Let let
Opening it
let's
up.
hope it's arrived in the same condition it left. Or this could fall flat on its face. This
Can you
feature, couldn't it?
imagine that? Can you
Yeah.
imagine? Oh yeah, I've got it right. So inside, Stephen's
Yeah.
packaged this in very well indeed. All right.
Did you like now here? Did
Yeah,
you like the fact I've used paper tape and not plastic tape?
paper tape, which
Paper
is
tape.
very environmentally friendly.
It
Then
is.
inside we have cardboard,
Mm.
which is good. Wonder what was in there.
Monitor arms.
Monitor arms. Okay.
Yeah, and
Dogs
all the
had
little
that end.
components.
Dogs had that end of it. There we
I
are.
ripped it in two to
I
squeeze it all
ripped
in.
it in two. And then inside this, more paper, because
Yeah,
it's all recyclable, which is good. There is shuttlecocks.
yeah. It's a tube of tennis balls for
It's
Wimbledon.
a tube of tennis balls or shuttlecocks for you. But no, indeed, here it is. Do you know what? It's larger than I thought.
Yeah, the,
Yeah. When you
somebody. Yeah, go on.
I was going to say, when you see this on the screen,
Yeah,
normally it looks quite small,
yes.
right? But actually,
It's,
to give this some perspective, give it
yeah,
some anthropological measurements. There's my arm,
yeah.
and it's actually the size of my forearm, my whole forearm, and I've got quite long arms.
Now,
So
isn't there a statistic, something to do with the measurement from your elbow to your middle fingers, the same as the top part, the top bone in your leg? Isn't there something like
yeah,
that where something measures? Is that what it is?
yeah, it's not always the case because some people have pretty weird measurements.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's roughly that. Anyway, there you go. So for anyone that wants to know, this is how the energy by light arrives. Okay,
massive
it,
Pringles tube.
a massive Pringles tube which you can
Yeah,
keep and use
Christmas.
uh, for bottles of wine or something at
Yeah, yeah,
Christmas.
yeah,
You know, there you go. And unpacking it even further, there's the
yeah.
lid,
The lid.
and inside the lid there, in the tiniest bit of plastic packaging,
Yeah.
uh, is the power supply. Oh, chucking
Oops.
it around already.
There
There's
was the power
power
supply.
supply unit, which has got a couple of adapters. There's a European adapter, I believe, is that,
Hmm.
and an
Yes,
English adapter on it.
there is.
There you go. A little cleany cloth thing,
Wipe your light.
and that's for wiping your light, is it?
It
Okay.
is. Wipe your light.
Wipe your light.
There we go.
And then
Don't drop it.
we get
Don't drop it.
into, yeah. Now this is where you shouldn't turn it upside down
Yes. Yes.
because it will be smashed energy by light.
Yes.
But there we are, and now it comes out, and also look at that. The destructions, I always call them destructions, not instructions,
Yeah. Yeah.
are wrapped around it. There we are. Whoa, look at that. Isn't that
There you
beautiful?
go.
There we are.
The EBL in all its glory.
It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's so much bigger than I thought it was going to be.
Mm.
Which is not a bad thing at all, because actually it probably needs to be that kind of size in order to effectively do its job.
Yeah, I guess to generate the ambient light, because as you can see there from what you're holding up, Graham, you can see the sort of the eye, which is the task light. So that gives you the direct light onto your keyboard and your workspace. But the rest of it is the ambient light to light up the rest of the room, or the corner of the office, wherever you're sort of working. So it's got a fairly decent amount of height to generate that sort of light to fill what in effect could be a fairly decent sized space.
So for anyone that's a lighting geek out there, this
Mhm.
particular slit here, and you can see at an angle inside there's one light source.
Mhm.
That's throwing out basically an asymmetrical light frame, which will if you sit this towards the edge of your desk, will then fall directly onto the working area without giving glare onto
Mhm.
the monitor area. Then this tubular section, which of course is well enough away from said monitors and things in order to not cause the glare, will throw a gentle ambient light out into the room, but also that it will be that completely changes over the period of the day and therefore make you feel more energized. You see,
Correct.
there we go.
And
That's a
you
lovely
were
thing.
saying there about where it goes. The general rule of thumb is wherever you're mousing, if you're mousing with a vertical mouse or a horizontal mouse, say for me on my right hand side, this
Yep,
goes in roughly the same place on the left hand side. So
yep.
opposite
There you go.
sort of side to where you're mousing, as it were.
And do you know what? It's a great size.
Yeah.
There's where the electricity goes in. You've got
Hmm.
this lovely louvering at the back. Is that functional? Or is it just aesthetic?
I think it is possibly helps, I guess, with some of the ventilation, I would say, from some of the,
Cooling.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
would
yeah, yeah,
suggest that's
yeah.
what that's for.
On on the top there is
Yeah,
manual controls for this,
correct. Yeah, but
right?
obviously
So
what
I
you'll
did
do
read
when
up
you,
about it before
hey,
today. So
well
see,
done.
these are the manual controls, but obviously the whole thing can be controlled by a beautiful app which you can download to your mobile device,
Yes.
so that you can control all of it via there
Mm.
as well. Uh, that's a wonderful thing. That's a
Well,
wonderful. Thank you for
we
sending that.
no, that's all right. We'll be really interested to see how you get on. I mean, one of the things with some of the with the sheer volume of sort of shows and podcasts that you do, Graham, it'll be really interesting when you have it on, because one of the things that we sort of touched on briefly is the fact it improves the sort of illumination of your working area. But actually, when you do things like Teams calls or Zooms or those sort of things, it actually makes you as an individual, your sort of shoulders and body and face look a lot clearer and brighter. So almost the quality of your appearance when you're doing that sort of thing, it improves vastly. So it'll be interesting when you've done when you've set it up and then you've done a few, whether you get that feedback or when you watch it back yourself and go, actually, I do look a lot clearer.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
We're actually going to try various different things with it. We are also going to try it in. I've got to be very careful how I say this. We're going to try it in the bedroom, so
Yeah.
that
Yes.
right to see whether or not it has an impact in terms of waking up in the morning,
Hmm.
and whether that works. We're going to try it with our son, who is 7, who is being
Hmm.
diagnosed at the moment for ADHD, to see whether it has an impact on his sleeping pattern as well, because um, his sleeping pattern is problematic, shall we say? Um,
Right. Okay.
and he has trouble settling,
Okay.
uh, and or waking up. He doesn't really understand how to settle or wake up, and it'd be interesting to see whether it has any dynamic effect on that. And
Yeah.
then we'll try it in the workspace as well. So we're going to give
Yeah.
it a free in test,
Yeah.
etc. I kind of want to. One of the things I kind of want to do with this
Mm.
is I kind of want to now create. Like when you have those parking spaces, or you go into a street in. You know why I'm going with this,
Yes, I
in
do.
London or whatever, and the thing pops out of the ground like that,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Because that has a thing on the top. I kind of want to create a space where, in fact, is there a desking manufacturer out there that could actually create a
Oh,
thing where this is actually popped down in a desk and then it could actually just pop out like that?
I don't know, but I think we need to get a copyright on that very quickly. That's a great idea.
I just think that would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Like literally, it could.
You almost press down on it, and it sort of
Yeah,
springs up, as it were. Then you
just,
push it down,
just
and it's, yeah.
yes,
Hey,
genius, right?
hey,
That needs to happen,
brilliant.
doesn't it? Yeah. There you go. I'm going to very carefully put it down over here so it doesn't get broken.
Don't drop it.
No, it's in a safe place. I'm going to remain standing up. Just so to do that today, I'm actually standing up. I'm actually using my standy up, sitty down, do whatever without a frown desk today. Um, and I normally sit down for a while, but I'm standing up, which is why the background might look slightly different. Are you going to be able to come off
I'm going to
circle now?
try. I'm
Oh,
going to
right,
try.
okay.
And before I do, sorry, I'm just going to try something. This is, I honestly, we had not discussed this before. I always stand up when we do WOW. And I decided today I was going to sit down. No joke, Graham and I had not spoken about this. And he's standing and I'm sitting. Now, let me just see if we can get this
Wow.
camera to, oh, we're still
We
a
don't
little
know
bit stuck,
why.
aren't
We
we?
don't know why. It may
Mm,
be. Maybe it's the little people that run around and make the Wi-Fi happen in that part of the world that it's not running around fast enough. They need some
no.
energy via light. That's what they
Exactly.
know.
But you can see I was sitting down and Graham is standing up, so it usually is the other way around. But I am going to turn the camera off because a lot of people listen back on Spotify and the image doesn't matter, and it's really off-putting when you're talking and you're seeing yourself 10 seconds behind. So apologies for those people who did want to see me. Not this week. I'm just going to stop the camera and we'll just
That's
go
all right.
audio for me this week. So.
For anybody else, if you're watching this back and you're wondering what's going on, I am not speaking to AI. Stephen Howe is behind the dot. It is real, etc.
Yes.
Now, another thing to talk about this week. We haven't got a special guest, by the way, this week.
No.
That will become apparent towards the end as to why we haven't got a special guest this week. We're fess up to that towards the end of this, but we've got plenty to talk about anyway.
Yeah.
And it's great sometimes to have a week where we don't have somebody on. One of the things that we talked about this week was trying to get more people outside of kind of the ergonomic sector into the kind of sector work space or the sector space in order to find out about ergonomics. And I, as you know, outside of WOW, I do some music interviews. And I was blessed during the week, at the beginning of the week, to interview a lovely lady who was part of Britain's Got Talent. Do you remember that show?
Yes. Yes.
The wonderful Britain's Got Talent.
Yeah.
And this lady appeared on there 8 years ago, believe it or not. 8 years ago. Wow. So it's amazing how time flies. But I don't think any of us will have forgotten her. Her name was Lorraine Bowen.
Yeah.
And she became otherwise known as the Crumble Lady because she arrived on the scene. Picture this, if you will. Pulled onto the stage an ironing board with a Casio keyboard taped to the top to sing her special song that she'd written herself about making a crumble, which certain people, Simon Cowell, thought was horrendous. But the wonderful David Williams and the rest of the audience absolutely loved it because it was incredibly entertaining.
I was going to say, this is when you said Cal hated it, I was just about to say Williams is going to be all over this, loving it, isn't he?
Yes, and very famously, she received the golden buzzer from David Williams for that. And do you know what? In the interview, and people, please do watch the interview because it's hilarious. In the interview, she admits that actually she almost really didn't know what she was doing being there. And when the golden buzzer went off, she really didn't know what was going on. But she knew that she was standing there on stage and all of this golden tape and everything was going down, and she just went with it. But I think she said she'd watched about 2 minutes of the show before that.
Okay.
So she had no idea about the format. And somebody had just said to her, you need to go on this show. And then an agent had come and found her and pulled her onto the show. And she really had no idea about it. So you can imagine, like, David Williams stands up, presses the golden buzzer, all of this tape's coming down, and she's just like, oh, great. She has no idea.
I'll have a bit of this.
Yeah, she has no idea. She's just she's in her own little world, and it's lovely. But anyway, we discovered in talking that, I mean, she writes, this is the thing about Lorraine, she writes songs about the everyday, right?
Yeah.
Making a crumble, putting it in the oven, baking it, etc. She's got another song about list making, which is great. And she tells people to make a list, put it on the list. It's all kind of, I suppose, in a way, it's kind of her reflections on everyday little things that you should be doing or that she finds helpful. Yeah. And one of the things that she discovered in the middle of the pandemic, in the same way that a lot of us did, was that actually sitting at your desk for long periods of time doing stuff, you get really sore, and the inactivity really doesn't help. And so she started looking around to see if there was anything out there song wise that could help her, because she relates everything to music. And it was interesting because, and we had a whole discussion about how growing up we had all of these people on TV that were very in tune with that. So you might, I don't know, you might remember
Go on
some of
then.
these. There was Angela Rippon, the
Yeah,
newsreader, used
yeah,
to
yeah.
do her own exercise things, and then we had the Green Goddess.
Green Goddess, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Mr. Motivator, are you
And
going to
then
come to
Mr.
him next?
Motivator, exactly that, who's still going strong.
Is he?
Which actually proves a point, doesn't it? These people have stayed healthy.
Mm.
But we had all of these people that kind of encouraged us because we were all getting a bit slovenly in exercise things. But she was looking for someone that specifically was trying to help with desks and
Yeah,
exercise. And of course, had she known that about people like Alison Thompson, etc., then
yes.
she could have gone. She could have gone there. She couldn't find them, so she did the research herself. So she went and found a physio within the NHS, got advice about what sort of exercises people should be doing, and created a song about it. And she created desk exercise. Uh,
Are you going to play it?
which I'm now hoping, if I share screen, I might be able to make this work. And I'm going to share just a few seconds of this because otherwise we're being infringement of copyright. But here we go.
Yes.
This is desk exercise with.
Hello, my name's Lorraine Bowen and this is desk exercise. If you're feeling a bit slumpy at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, then this is the track to get you going. Keep on moving and all the exercises start on the left. Let's go! Desk exercise. It's time for exercise at your desk. Stand up, exercise at its best. Flick your chair away and let's get going. Clap along, desk exercise. Stretch your arms out. Stretch your arms to the left. Ooh. Stretch your arms to the right.
Now,
I'll be honest with you. You shared this with me earlier in the week, Graham. I was crying with laughter. It was when you watched the whole thing through. I mean, it's brilliant, but I just could not stop laughing. It was like proper tears down the cheeks moment when I was watching it.
it's brilliant, though, isn't it?
It is
I think-
brilliant. It is
I
brilliant.
think what's great about it is I think it's great that that people like Lorraine have recognised that actually there's a problem. That actually sitting statically for long periods of time at a desk, not moving at all, is actually causing a physiological problem, and that's actually causing, that can cause pain and major problems. So, however fun that is,
Yeah.
there's an element to it which is deadly serious, right?
Oh,
And
absolutely.
if we if we kind of bring that over to how that kind of plays out in terms of experts in the ergonomics field, etc. I mean, you, for example, you've got a piece of software that helps with that.
Yeah. So we have work and move coach, which is all based around reminders, prompts to take a break. What it'll do, it'll look at how much you're using and look how much you're using your input devices, so your keyboard and your mouse, and it will prompt you to take breaks. There can be short breaks, longer breaks. It's all about stepping away from what you're doing, exercise, movement, and then going back to it. But we all, how often do we just, you get your head down with a piece of work and bang, you've gone, and it's an hour's gone, and you're thinking, what happened? What? I haven't taken a break. You got the soreness, the uncomfortable posture that you've sort of not thought about as you're sort of working all the way through there. So this is simply going to remind you to take those breaks, which is
Yeah.
really, really useful. And again, it's just habits, isn't it? Habits and rituals. Well, if it's not a natural habit or a natural ritual for you to take frequent breaks, there is something out there from a system software perspective that can aid you in that.
The other part of that, though, and Lorraine and I spoke about that, is it's a cultural piece as well. very much in terms
Yeah.
of England, and she'd recognised that as well. That actually, she said to me that it's quite peculiar, our culture, because in some cultures they are much more willing to sort of get up and dance and do things, because she's travelled the world doing various things. I mean, would you believe that the ladies actually toured with Billy Bragg as his keyboard player as well?
Oh, right. Okay.
All around the place. And she said, one of the things about England is that we are stiff. We're inherently stiff in everything that we
Yeah.
do. We don't like to kind of show that we're. Sorry about the dog, by the way. I don't know what's
That's
got
right.
into him today. But we don't like to show that, any kind of emotion in a lot of situations. And I think one of the things that was great about what she was trying to do there as well, she's trying to kind of overcome that Englishness as well,
Yeah.
about getting up and moving. It's kind of maybe an extreme case of it, but if you think about it, why do we just sit at our desk for long periods of time and not even go, I'm just going to get up from my desk and stretch, right? We've both got sit-stand solutions, right?
Yeah.
But how many people get a sit-stand solution and then don't use the sit-stand solution? What they do is they're either stand all day or
Yep.
sit all day at a desk, which enables them to actually physically move.
I did a call. I did a call about 6 weeks ago now with a huge UK financial institute, and we were talking to one of the main facilities guys there, and he made a point that they'd gone and invested in all these sit-stand desks, but he literally turned around as we were doing the call and he said, "Everyone sat down. No one's actually using them." So actually, the organization has gone away and made the investment. They probably listened to occupational health, listened to the employees about movement and changing posture, etc., etc. They've gone and invested, and then no one uses them. And I've heard that mentioned 1 or 2 times from organizations where massive frustration that people just don't use what they're being given. So we've often questioned, is it organizations actually investing? Yeah, that's always going to be a challenge. There'll always be organizations who will try and avoid investing. But actually, the onus then has to come back on the user as well. They have to be responsible that if you are given something to support you, you absolutely have to go and use it.
Yeah. But also, equally, there are still people that don't know. I
No.
saw during the week, friend of the show, Paul Skinner, who
Yeah.
runs a ergonomics dealership down in the southwest of the country, near
Yeah.
to where I am. He put a post out. I don't know whether you saw this on
I
LinkedIn
did.
about,
Yeah, I did.
and in it kind of almost had the devolution of man, but it also had, like, he did another one with some height adjustable sit stand desks in there as well. And I read
Yes.
through the comments on that, and there were 2 or 3 comments from heads of people at
Yeah.
fairly large organisations who said, "Oh, I've never seen a desk like that."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm
I
like,
know.
sit-stand desks or height adjustable desks, how many years have we had that as technology
No.
now? That's
I mean, what
unbelievable.
it is. What makes me laugh is where you also hear some people referring to them as standing desks. And it's like, you're not quite getting the concept here, are you? It's not a sit desk. It's not a stand desk. It's a stand desk. If you stand all day, as opposed to sitting all day, it's going to just create problems.
Is this a semantic problem again, though? And and a
Yeah.
sales type problem as well, because I think it is. If it's a bit like the word ergonomic. If I
Yeah.
have my time again, going back
Yeah.
round, and I could think about starting to sell those desks, like 20 odd years ago when they first came in, or whatever it was, why didn't we call them move desks? Do you know what I'm saying there? Why didn't we use as a definition for them, rather than something which is a static position,
Yeah.
i.e. standing? Why didn't we call them move desks? because then everybody would get what they would, if they didn't understand, they'd ask, why is it called a move desk? Because you can
Yes.
move.
But by giving it that name, like you say, giving it two defined positions, sit,
Yeah.
stand desk, in some people's mind, I think that goes, oh, I've got a choice. I can either sit
Right.
most of the time, or I can stand most of the time. Do I understand that I need to sit and stand? So as you say, it's almost sometimes the wording and the marketing and the sort of the semantics around it. Oh,
Mm.
as I say, I can't. I did speak to someone, and he sort of said to me, "Yeah, I sort of stand all day," and it's like, but that's just not the point. But again, you've got to think, how has that individual got in that position that they believe standing at a desk all day is good for you? What's led them to that thought? What's the piece of marketing? What's the training? What's the knowledge sharing they've picked up
There has
on
been
that's
some
given them that
science
impression?
shared in terms, hasn't there? There has been some science
Yeah,
shared in terms of like the benefits of standing over sitting, and you know, uh, to some degree, actually, you could argue that standing all day is possibly better than sitting all day, because actually it at least it encourages probably more dynamic movement in the body than sitting does. Especially as a lot of people.
have you ever tried standing all day and working at a desk?
Yes, yes, and do you know what? It hurts.
I find it hurts particularly like your lower, for me, lower back and balls of your
Yeah,
feet. Those
yeah,
pressure points where there's a lot of weight coming through your body, back onto your balls of your feet and your heels and your back, trying to maintain that position all
yeah.
day is more. I find it more uncomfortable than sitting all day.
I'll say a couple of things on that. One is, I think we have to accept that that's partly the case of the fact that if you're used to sitting,
Yeah,
you'll find standing painful.
yeah,
Okay, because my wife works as well, she's moved more into management now, but she's worked her entire life as a dental nurse, and dental nurses stand all day; they do not sit down.
no, of course,
And she finds sitting painful. She's now found, as she's moved more from being a nurse full time into management, where she does actually have to sit at a desk a lot of time. She now gets a lot of backache where she never used to before, because she's now sitting, whereas she always stood. So if your body gets used to one thing, one set of muscles are obviously going to get stronger than another set, and you're then going to find it difficult to do the opposite. Right, which it comes back to what we were saying, really, which is that actually if you alternate what you do, then actually you help in that
mm,
situation, right? So one thing rather than another. The other thing that I had found did work really quite well is, if I was trying to use a standing desk for a long period of time, then a good anti-fatigue mat does actually help,
yes, yes,
right?
agreed.
Which for people, if you haven't ever seen that as a piece of kit or don't know what that is, think like a gym mat,
Yeah,
made of a kind of rubber type material that you
yeah,
stand on. But what it does is it actually takes a bit of the kind of pressure from
mm,
under your feet, and just kind of softens the blow on the knees as well,
yeah,
really, because you've got a little bit of bounce there rather than actually standing on a hard floor all the time. It's a good bit of advice. If you are going to buy, here you are. If you're going to buy a sit stand desk, don't just stand at it. Don't just sit at it. Use an anti-fatigue mat, because you'll feel the benefit of that, and move. And that
mm.
is why I actually always ended up calling them sit, stand, move desks.
Okay,
And that is literally what I ended up calling them, because I used to say to people, you have to, before you buy into this, you have to understand the premise of what we're trying
yeah,
to achieve here, which is
mm,
that we want you to sit, we want you to stand, and we want you to move. We're not saying get away from using your chair, but we're saying don't just sit all day long, stand occasionally, and move occasionally.
yeah,
And if you can get into a habit of creating a day where you do those different things, then it helps. And it's
yeah,
just part of it is just about reorganizing workload during the day in order to fit the physical side of it. So, think about task breakdown in the same way that you would think about task breakdown in terms of when I've got time to do these things. Think about tasks in terms of how you can do those tasks. You might not be able to stand, for example, and create a post for social media, but you might be able to read your email standing, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, I'm reading my emails now. Stand to do that. This task, I actually find I'm more focused when I'm sitting, so sit to do it. This task, actually, I don't even need to be at my desk to do this task, so I'm going to move.
It's a great point. The more I think about what you're saying there, if I'm doing like work with Excel, I don't like doing work with sorry, let me rephrase that. I prefer Excel work when I'm sitting down as opposed to standing up. So what you're saying there about reorganizing your day, Graham, is a really valid point. If you've got a big piece of or if I've got a big piece of Excel work, don't look to do it all off in one big block in the morning. Take a chunk of it off. Take a chunk of it off in the morning and the chunk in the afternoon, because if I then do it all, or vice versa, if I do it all at the same time, either all in the morning or all in the afternoon, it's naturally bringing in a longer of period in a sitting position where I don't want to alternate to a standing position. But so by taking that and splitting it over the day brings that natural alternation in my working position.
For the second time today, I'm probably going to give away one of my genius ideas, which I should have registered first before I said this. First of all, there was the energy by light springing out of a desk, which we just need to make happen, or you need to make happen.
I need to make happen.
The second one is I've been playing this week with a new piece of software called Motion. And Motion is like a combination of different things. So if you think about things like Calendly that helps you book meetings, right? But you also think about a piece of software that's like a task-based piece of software, like Trello or Asana, or some kind of Kanban type piece of software. This combines all of those together, and it also uses clever AI. So what you can do is you can put all of your calendars together in there, and then you create a whole set of tasks and projects that you need to get done during the week. And then what it does is it uses AI to go, where can all of those pieces fit in to your calendar?
Nice.
So it demarcates your work for you throughout the week, and then you don't even have to think about it, right? So it organizes your week. Wouldn't it be lovely if someone from the ergonomic sector could get involved in that as a project and go, okay, what if alongside that you could enter in some data about what kind of work you can do from it may be a neurotypical or even just a cognitive processing point of view in against each kind of task, and where you feel comfortable. And then what it could do is think about how much time you should spend moving, and then it kind of allocated against each task as well. It'd say, right, you need to stand up to do this. You need to move now. You need to. So actually get the whole thing together, and actually then it's like, not only, isn't that brilliant? Not only is your week organized, but your week is organized in terms of a bit of movement as well. So you're not having any day where you're static. That would be genius.
It would.
Oof. There you go.
Excellent.
Someone might roll with that. I don't know. If you do, please let us know. I mean, you just say,
please cut us in.
Just say, I got the idea off Wow. Thanks. You never know. But look, it's what we need more of in this sector and in any sector is people just having these ideas. They won't necessarily all follow through, etc. But unless people are trying to disrupt and actually think about how we can bring things together that people are already doing with the message of move more, look after your body more, work in a particular way because this is going to help your body, then we won't make these things come together and gel.
No.
And then we're just all fighting in our different silos, etc. Whereas actually these things could combine really quite nicely. We do want to work in a more organized way, as AI will help us in the future take away some of the grunt if we
Yeah.
let it, right? But what we need to do is see how, in doing all of that, it also makes us think about our well-being as well, right? So that we're not just replacing one set of tasks that we needed a computer for with another set of tasks that we can use a computer for, which actually physically are going to make us worse off. And that's the danger, isn't it? The danger
definitely.
is we replace spending hours doing the query table on the Excel spreadsheet. We're spending hours doing a design over here for a flyer because now we've moved it from an accounting based job into something more creative. But ultimately, I'm still spending a lot of time at the computer.
Yeah.
We've got to get the well-being piece into that somewhere. So.
What do you think where do you think AI is going to have its biggest impact over the next 5 years? Where's the real winner for all of humanity without it getting rid of people's jobs? Where do you think's the thing that it's going to they can have the biggest impact and biggest difference?
I think it should be in efficiency in all quarters. It should really be. It should be in, if it's done properly, it should be in the health and well-being space. That's where it should be best, right? Because what it should allow us more time to be creative, right? If you think about it, and I've talked to some AI experts about this, the one thing AI is going to struggle with more than anything is that human ability to be ultra creative, right? And to break new ground and to push us forward. So we've got to try and use AI to take us away from the pushing around of data or copying of data or just moving of data that just gets a job done.
Yeah.
Because AI should be able to do those computations and sort the data and put the data in the right place for us. Yeah. And that should leave us freer to go, how can we create? How can we push something onwards? How can we make new opportunity?
My thought's very similar to you. Yeah, my thought was going to be in the healthcare sector, so slightly broader than health and well-being sector. Actually, in the overall healthcare sector, with beasts such as the NHS and the size of those organisations and the ability to sort of streamline thoughts and processes and speed things up. That was a sort of, and it's very, very similar. Your sort of thinking was quite similar to mine, but mine was sort of on a slightly broader healthcare level, but yours is certainly really interesting in the specifics around sort of health and well-being.
I think the biggest challenge there to the healthcare, well, to the NHS in particular, is before we even get going on AI, and it's similar to some extent, we need integration and we need connectivity, because at the moment that doesn't exist in a lot of places in the NHS. How many times do you go and see a doctor who then refers you to somebody else who then has to take all of your case notes again, who then refers you to someone else who then has to take all of your case notes again? And ultimately, I think that's the first stop for a lot of businesses in a lot of their processes. The first thing we need to do is get better integration and coordination of data, so that actually we're not repeating ourselves over and over again, but we can actually take from somebody once
Mm.
and move that data across safely and securely, but into other areas so that we can really use that data as effectively as possible without having to waste people's time.
Mm. So the AI almost comes in on top of the coordination piece, and that's the piece that the NHS, or as an example, is sort of currently lacking in.
Yeah, I think once we've got the coordination of data there, once we've joined the dots on data, then we can start to use AI to go, how can we now more effectively use this to create something else? And that's an important piece. Excuse me. But there we are. We kind of put the world to rights there with all of that. It's an interesting conversation, folks, and we'd love to hear your views on it. Where do you think AI is going to go in the future? What kind of part do you think it has to play in health and welfare? What part do you think it will play in terms of provision of services and support of people that need it within, not just within the NHS, but within fields, especially? I expect a lot of the people that we get listening to WOW are people from sort of the occupational health field, or maybe even the sort of vocational rehabilitation field. I'd love to know where you think AI can play a part going forward in those sectors in terms of perhaps more effective support of people that need that support. I mean, I definitely think there needs to be somewhere in that a better bringing together of what we already know, so that we can more effectively support people without the challenges that we have at the moment, where perhaps there are sort of gaps where people fall off the radar. They get one level of support, but then they don't get the next level of support. And I think it'd be good to see AI being used in those areas. And I think they are. I think we're beginning to see that. I think we're beginning to see maybe apps and things like that, where maybe someone's getting ergonomic assessment, or they're seeing a physio or something like that, but it's recognized that there are maybe issues around mental health or whatever, and then automatically some other support system gets kicked in that actually then signposts and helps that person in that way. I think that's going to be key actually going forward.
I think so, and I think it'd be good over the next sort of few weeks and months. I know you've got lots of guests lined up, Graham, but someone really I think it'd be really good to almost do a bit of a sort of cradle to grave on AI, because I think a lot of people hear it. We talk about ergonomics and we talk about people hear words, but it'd be really interesting to sort of understand it from the start, wouldn't it? As to what does it actually mean? We all hear AI, but what's our understanding of it? What's our expectation of it? You try and almost get as many people as you can on the same sort of level to understand what it can actually do, not just how many people are sitting there and going, just nodding, yeah, AI, but actually they don't really know what it means, but they're a bit embarrassed to ask.
I think the other little thing to say on that is I always marvel at the posts in the morning on LinkedIn or whatever social platform, where people go, do you use AI within your business, or are you seeing AI being used within your sector? And people are going, no. And I think you don't understand, do you?
No.
Because it's a little bit like people going, well, I haven't got a computer in my house, right? I don't outside of my office. There's no computer in my house. Yeah, there is. There's your washing machine.
Yeah.
There's your smart TV. There's your, you can go on and on and on. Ultimately, AI is being embedded into every solution now.
Yes.
Every online solution has AI built into it. The daft thing is, people are saying that on things like LinkedIn. What do they think is sitting behind?
It's like, hello, it's right LinkedIn. In front of you. Hello.
Yeah, this is AI.
This is a great example of it.
Yeah. You're sat there saying, no, I don't interact with AI at all. Yeah, you do. You're literally on a platform that is using AI in order to look at what people are writing, what they're thinking, who they're commenting on. What do you think an algorithm is? What do you think that algorithm feeds into? Platforms are getting smarter and smarter and smarter. Some would say they're not. But that is all based on artificial intelligence. It's big data is driving the world, and to not appreciate that you're already using it is a mistake in this day and age. So there we go. I'm going to go and play with my Energy by Light now. If folks, if you enjoyed the unboxing of that at the beginning of this, and you want to do your own unboxing, then please do. Yeah.
Buy one and unbox it yourself.
Yeah. I was going to be more subtle, but yes.
Sorry.
Then do find out more information on Energy by Light by visiting the now legendary Wow Ergonomics website at wowergonomics.com, where not only can you listen to previous episodes of this show and catch up on all of the latest gossip, but you can also find information and some videos there about Energy by Light, and get a link through to some of the places where you can buy it as well. So there you go. That was Energy by Light. And we will be back same time, same place next week. If you hadn't already guessed, we actually pre-recorded this, which is why I gave away. Which is why I gave away that kind of clue at the beginning of this. If you were hoping that you could comment live on this on the Friday, or you did comment on the Friday, and you're wondering why on earth aren't they getting back to me straight away? That's the reason why. We are basically AI. we do not exist. And Stephen's actually looking like, as I said at the beginning, looking like Hal anyway, which must have been one of the first kind of big screen debuts of AI, wasn't it? 2001.
I'd have thought so. Yeah, I'd have thought so.
Yeah, and we were frightened by it right then. I mean, I think 2001 kind of put the fear of God into everybody in terms of artificial intelligence, and maybe you still have got that fear. Well, maybe it's time to investigate it a little bit more. We will be back same time, same place next week with a guest, because I'm going to sort that out. And until then, take care of yourselves, and do remember Lorraine Bowen and her desk exercise song. Don't necessarily get up and dance in the middle of the office. You might get arrested, but do take a moment or two to move this week. Just think about that. Till next time, bye for now.
See you next week.